Greetings. We've had a number of false starts on this, but we are going to truck through. So we're going to play through the multi-track sections of my first album, Death of the American Dream, made 10 years ago. This should be a lot of fun. So let's get right into it. Tiny bit of backstory is that I recorded this in 9 months in an apartment bedroom, utilizing nothing but this machine here. So we're going to start with the opener, because I did record this in a linear fashion, and I go into detail in the other video I made, but let's see what we've got here. We'll start with the first track. What do we got on the first track of the opening? Okay. Immediately I can hear that was like a guitar cable just touched against my hand with a lot of reverb on it. Yeah. And then what do we have? Let's go through the tracks. That's the Korg Triton. Let's go to the stills. Okay. This is fun. That's a couple of the pieces of gear that I used prior to the album. But the Korg X50, let's see. I can put this here. Sorry. I'm learning a little bit about this here. Okay. So, all right, we're going to get used to this. Okay, so doesn't help that the camera's in the way. Okay. So we're going to go back to Chrome. Sorry. Okay, so if I hit the still button, there we go. There's the Korg X50, which essentially is the Korg Triton, a stripped down version. And that was used, that sound. And let's see what else. These sounds here. So that's all the Korg X50. And we also have that's me just playing a record by hand with a lot of reverb on it.
Now there's an easy solution. We here at Wallcourse care about your general health and safety. A mandatory vaccination will provide you with soothing relief from the harsh symptoms of many health concerns.
Already, there's a couple things with that's a little bit kind of prophetic. It's that voice is kind of the voice from the TikTok voice. It's similar to that, but also it's talking about vaccinations and stuff. That I typed a script into a Mac computer.
And introducing the new iChip. Insert it easily and painlessly within minutes.
That would have been just recorded from a computer into the
ensuring safety machine. And promoting a more convenient life.
What else do we got? I stuck a microphone out the window and captured the playground that was out front. That's just some kids playing, and I mixed that in. So that's what made it up. Called it Humanized. That's the opening track. So what else do we got? That bell. Now we get into some of the music. So I want to start let's start with the drums here. Which ones are the drums? There we are. Still navigating this thing. So there's the drums. Those drums would have been done by the Korg Electribe, and that is this machine right here. That's the Korg Electribe. This machine right here, the Korg Electribe, was the one that I used for the entire album. So I would have recorded these drums as a stereo mix, as we can see right here. So there's some guitars. You can hear the bass right there too. And so check this out. So this RP250 guitar pedal, I know it's in reverse, but that RP250 is what the bass is going through and the guitars. So I mean, I use that RP250 on everything. So what else do we got here? We've got, there's the drums, some stereo guitars. This is a really cool melody guitar part. Let's hear some vocals, shall we? So I got to go over to the virtual tracks. We can see that the virtual tracks are happening. Let's go to the second row on these. Sorry, I got to do this one by one here. So the first 8 tracks, what you just heard were the, backing tracks there. And now we are going to hear what was overdubbed. I'm kind of nervous. Here we go. It's that head for the sky. And I don't care what I say, 'cause I'm on my way. I'll be gone any day, and I won't say how. No more mental conditions, infectious addiction, diagnosed intuition, and the traffic still falls. Electric suicide. Okay, I think there was a. Let's go back just a hair, because I think there was this little glitch. I probably erased some of the guitar part. Electric suicide. Okay, you heard it right there. There's vocals got punched in because I think the tracks change. Which one is that? Let's see. Traffic still falls. Electric suicide. Yeah, you heard those vocals. I'll be gone. They came in like they were punched in a little late. I think I recorded a guitar part and then forgot to hit stop, and so I had to keep it that way because I got the take and it just barely hit it right when those vocals came in, and I was like, you can't really tell in the mix. Electric suicide. Electric suicide when the whole world dies. Electric suicide. Not enough on hand. Too many products gone bad. Another thing of the past on layaway. Another Korg keyboard again. I'm just playing it. It's just the Korg X50. Yesterday, it's the American dream to live a life full of ease. On autopilot for free, going nowhere. We got a foot in the grave. We're making money to save, but we're running. There's just the backing track right there. I think I stole that rhythm somewhere. The checka-chat. Like spaceships and see where we fly. Take off like space. I like the backing right here. Guitar on the right comes in. I like the acoustic guitars right there. Yeah. So that is where it bridges from one song to the next. I'm going to go to the other virtual tracks here. Got to go one by one, sorry. This button, these tack switches have gone kind of sour. Million presses and all. So what do we start with? that's what we start with here. That's a loop running from the Korg Electribe. And this acoustic guitar on track 3. This is probably, I just recorded it on one take likely, just playing the whole entire song just with this, keeping a metronome really. And then got some, this is finger drums. It'll get more intense with the chorus. So there's a piano, that's the Korg. A rhythm guitar features with the bass. Nice muted part. It's probably that sounds like the P bass. I wanna, while we listen to that real quick, I'm gonna pull up a picture because this is, it's kind of embarrassing, but here we go. So this is a picture of me with the Squier P bass. That's me with the Squier P bass that you're hearing right now. What else do we got? So there's the drums. That's me finger drumming on the Korg keyboard, and that's running through that Digitech guitar pedal. So you got that like distortion and spring reverb happening. That sounded kind of cool. All right, now we got to go to the other virtual tracks. So basically you can see here that there's 2 tiers or 2 layers. So I have to come back and just kind of go down one notch to the second layer, because those what we just heard were the first backing tracks, and now so this 7 and 8 now are the backing tracks. That's the mix. So this is what I would have added. Not a lot there. There's the vocal.
'Cause when I think about it, it only feeds a lie. Only feeds a lie. Only feeds a lie. Only feeds a lie. I'm calling bullshit on me.
That's funny.
Can only be what you want. What you want. Stillness. Take
Okay. These vocals are pretty raw.
my mind. I feel like I'm living in
Not a lot. There's not a lot going on with these overdubs here. It's like I have all these tracks to overdub, but just the vocal.
It seems like I'm watching my reflection, watching me.
Let's see if we got anything else. Okay.
Grant me the luxury of something less.
Got some distorted guitars. There's a harmony. Let's hear the harmony by itself.
Grant me the luxury of something less, and the serenity of nothingness. Leaving to come back, it contradicts itself. I I just don't belong here
So it's really just
like anybody else. Anybody else. Anybody else. Anybody else.
those are just different vocal takes, like different tracks. So really those these tracks are really allocated to like I think what it is I've got a lead vocal here, a harmony vocal here. I've got the delay vocal left and the delay vocal right, and then guitar left and right, and then one of these is also the guitar solo.
Anybody else. All I've ever known
I think it's
is somewhere in between.
a lot of these tracks just share.
This
You guys can hear me okay, yeah? I'm hoping so. I hope everything is sounding good for you guys.
reality that's fading. Awake inside a dream.
A lot of these tracks just share.
Inside a dream.
Single track.
Inside a dream.
Okay, so these two tracks actually they share they'll change into guitars.
And stillness takes my mind.
Kind of rough. It's all right. There's the solo. Which track is on the solo?
I want to end this endless karma.
Which guitar was that? It was there was two guitars I used on the whole album. Well, electric guitars anyway. It would have been the Dan Electro or the Fender Telecaster made in Mexico.
I'll drown it in an ocean.
Do you guys have any questions so far on what you're hearing, or do you guys want me to dive deeper into any aspects of this? I mean, just let me know.
Grant me the luxury of something less, and the serenity of nothingness. Grant me the luxury of something less, and the serenity of nothingness. Whoa.
It's kind of nice. I love the melody of that guitar. I'm gonna switch back to the original 8 tracks here. Gotta push these buttons a million times. Again, these tack switches have had their time. So this is I can tell you that this guitar is the Made in Mexico Telecaster in the neck position. So little modal vamping on the Korg X50 piano sound. It's the only piano sound I used through the whole album. What else do we have here? All right, there's a drum track right here. Funny thing about this drum track is that it's actually an MP3 streaming from my iPod, because I recorded this as a backing track for the demo version, and I wanted those drums because they were just right. And the only way I could get those drums was to burn a disc on this machine, burn it to my iTunes library, put it on my iPod, and then connect the output of the iPod back to this machine so I can insert those drums exactly where I wanted. Because if you look, we're at almost 13 minutes in. Were you writing? Rob says, were you writing, arranging on the fly during recording, or did you have it all mapped out? I basically had this thing mapped out. It was this big like puzzle piece. Like there was bits and pieces where I didn't know how to connect the dots. But if you notice, for example, like how this song goes, there's a seamless transition right there. That's where the next song starts. So it's basically like goes to G to C minor. So, I mean, it's just like, okay, this song ends in D minor, but this song starts in D minor. So I can, bridge them together. So it was like putting puzzle pieces in terms of writing. I didn't like write a lot as I go. The lyrics kind of came last in a lot of the cases, but as far as the structure, when I had to have I came into this with a pretty strong game plan. So there's that piano vamping. There's just a C minor chord. And yeah, to get these drums, that's what I had to do. I had to import the MP3 from my iPod just to get these drums, which are, again, the Korg Elect Tribe. And then during the chorus is actually just a single mic, and I'm playing along with it on the kit. So it's kind of nice vamping. So bass guitar, one of the two. There's some delay on that bass. Down tuned to drop C. So the guitars I use and the basses, like they've never had string changes. Like I didn't change my strings. One of those things. That was not studio recording ready. You can hear it's the intonation's a bit off. It sounded good to me at the time. It's a nice bass. I think that's the PV bass. I had a 5-string bass. There's a lot of delay on that bass. A little too wet. So I got a lot of guitars happening though. So I've got the dirty guitar. Let's rewind that. Got that guitar. This one. Oh. That would make sense. I didn't have that. So there's 2 clean guitars and a dirty guitar and a bass. Oh, there's a punch in right there. It wasn't there. You hear that little glitch? Yeah, I probably punched in right there. That's funny. Or I stopped recording right there. Odd place to do it. So there's that drum track again. But I want to rewind the drum track just a little bit. There's me at the kit on the top of the electronic drums. And there's the mix and everything. So that's what made up the backing tracks for this song, Black Friday. We'll go to the virtual tracks and go down one. Sorry, again, this takes a second because these buttons don't like to react with me. They're quite worn out. These Portac switches, put them through hell and back. All right, so there's the mix of the backing tracks right here, and these are the overdubs.
Partnership and stealing product placement.
So what do we got here? We got a guitar.
Get with the net.
Vocals.
You'll always miss the action when you close your eyes. You'll always miss the job that you don't realize.
Ooh, there we go. Reaching up there.
Turn off the news and get
Training
a clue.
wheel.
There's bigger things going on. Don't wait for Jesus to save you. When you're dead
I obviously didn't have it mixed that high, but
and gone. When you're dead and gone. When you're dead and gone. It's Black Friday. It's Black Friday. Black Friday.
not a terrible lot going on.
Dance of the dead in the human flesh, diseased and obsessed like artificial sex.
It's like sometimes I nail the line, but you know, when I was recording in this way, I mean, you're recording in a linear fashion where you punch in, but you can't always like I didn't pitch correct, obviously. I was like, okay, I was good until here. And sometimes you would just keep takes because it's like, well, I nailed that one line. I'm not going to nail it again that same way. So you just have to compromise with.
Business tycoons, congested rooms with the view, making profit from addictions that are packaged and produced. So don't put me on the cover of a Rolling Stone, and don't label me a fucking guitar hero.
Little loose playing right there.
I'll still be fucking waiting for my rally and remake. Black Friday. Black Friday.
We'll get to the guitar solo here.
Black Friday. Black Friday. Black Friday.
There was a punch in right there. Messy. Punch. That's a good sequence. You know? All right. That was Black Friday. Now we're going to segue, and I got to bounce back and forth between the V-Tracks once again. These buttons. One more. Come on. There. Jeez. All right. Now, what do we got here? So, again, we're just starting pretty raw with just this is a drum machine. It's a Korg Electribe again. And then synth pad on the Korg X50 piano from the Korg X50. Pretty sparse tracks right there, just like a drum machine and 2 keyboard parts, and then vocals on the other. Okay, stereo guitars. Two acoustic guitar parts. Oh, you can hear the room. Can hear my headphones. I mean, bass. Which bass is this? Got some, sounds like some chorus on that bass. That bass would have been tracked through the Digitech pedal. Very not tight electric guitar. Well, let's see what's on the V tracks. Okay. So we got the stereo mix right here.
Fortune in a horoscope. It told me that I would live twice. Saw the truth in a kaleidoscope. But truth is just a better lie. My reality is just a cartoon.
Not a lot going on.
Place for all my bleeding colors. I hope to see you there soon. We'll be different like the others.
Almost.
I've lost my reasons. My reason stops believing. In this sleep I am taken. From this dream
I didn't even tune that guitar. I was just like, go. You can tell right there. Either it's both that I didn't restring the guitar for I don't know how long, but also that the fact that I didn't tune the guitar before I hit record. I really didn't. I remember specifically, like, I don't know why, but I'm just like, I don't care. You can hear how off it is. It's a little off, but I'm going back to the other V tracks here. Come on. Guys, got to bear with me every time I do this. All right. Let's see. That sound is, what is that? Some kind of. Okay, so I had that's I think these drums right here. Okay, that's just the Korg Elect Tribe with just a lot of delay. And then if you see on the same tracks here, this is a stereo left and right. Right here, it's gonna end. And then I had to punch in with another drum machine part in time. There's that P bass. It's probably the Dan Electro. Little rhythm part. Little synth part on the chord. Put all that together. Pretty cool. I think there's clipping on these drums. They're too fat for their own good. Like they're just suffocated. Let's go to the other V track. This is fun. So we heard what made the backing tracks there, which is basically this right here. So that's the mix. Oh yeah. That's candy shakers. I didn't have an actual shaker in the house, so I went in the kitchen and grabbed some of those little candy shakers, like the sprinkles that you put on cakes. That's what these shakers are. It's just stereo left and right.
It's a shame I
3-part harmony, ladies and gentlemen.
can't stay. It's my time. You'll wonder why. I
So you can see how I had it mixed with the guitar over here. Sounds a little brash in my ear, but
these old habits repeat.
there's those shakers again, the candy shakers.
So I'm creating a
Sound too close to the mic, like they need to be low pass, like they would just have a little too much bass, probably murking up the mix.
new me.
Yeah, it certainly is.
These emotions will be left behind
Part adds some
when I sail
mojo to the whole thing. It's like, it gives it a little groove. Let's hear this harmony.
I'm a name from within. I'm a flame in the wind.
Some acapella for you right there.
So goodbye and don't reply as I sail distant sky. Goodbye and don't reply
Those
as I
vocals.
sail distant sky. Goodbye.
So if if you're following along, you can obviously notice a formula. So we're on tier 2, and we obviously have like vocals, a little bit of some kind of overdub, like a keyboard or something, and this vocals and a guitar solo. Look how hot that's recorded. This is not quite in tune. It's because my guitars weren't set up, they weren't restrung, anything. It was just record. Especially this. It's so sharp. Okay, so now we reached the following song. So they have this cascading this. We had this build up part that goes right to that song. And what we're going to do is go to the next song and follow it along. How do we do this? Organ. Drums are gone. Okay, so in order for me to do a segue, let's see how. So I had the stereo drums on this track for this song. And right here, it's just an organ. One and two and three and four and drums. That's when I punched in the drum, the second drum machine right there. And just a D minor, D major vamp. Pretty simple. Bass. Of course, all the bass, or a lot of them, put spring reverb on the bass. A little splashy. The spring reverb, you know, like listening to it, that drippy kind of sound that you're hearing. That part's kind of the EQ is a little eccentric, but the that splashy spring reverb is from the Digitech pedal. Okay, I got some. That's got to be the Telecaster. Kind of an organ part. Okay, that's kind of cool. So one's octave higher. Okay, that was a little sloppy. I'm gonna run that a little bit. All right, got some metal guitar happening there. Some chuggy. I always like, heavy stuff with the melodic stuff. So that's what makes up the backing track. Let's go ahead and go to the tier 2 where the vocals live. So. Pardon, it just takes a moment. All right, here we go. So this is
disobeyed the rules, yeah. I stepped outside of you.
You can hear there was a punch in right there. You can always like these little punch ins for the vocals.
Above your truth.
Off. that was off. Your truths. Going to
Is this some kind of joke?
going to 4/4 time here.
An elaborate prank on me.
I was proud of that note. I remember being like really stoked on that.
An elaborate prank on me. You choke on broken
Choke on. I can't help but correct myself.
words you spoke. And lost my desire to speak.
What was that? There was something in there that got left in on the tail.
To speak.
Must have been.
Don't need direction, I'm on the run. I think I'm the best when it's said and done.
I think I'm the best when it's said and done.
But
The vocals.
I'm probably the only one. Where will I fly beyond the sun?
Fairly level. That synth part is obviously the Korg. A little synth lead from that Korg X50.
When I come back again, it
Timing's just a little. Yeah, I'm getting there.
just doesn't feel the same. No more promises to send. No more candle with the flame. No more
And at 30 minutes, that concludes the first half of Death of the American Dream. Bones says he just got his copy of Morbid Euphoria. Thanks for enjoying it. That one I'm pretty proud of, put a lot of work into. This album we're listening to now is a gateway to my sonic exploration. So this was a big part of the process to get me sonically where I'm happy with Morbid Euphoria sonically. It's amazing. The thing I'm really happy about with Death of the American Dream is the songwriting and the song sequence. I think it's so strong. There's so much about it that's so prophetic to me, because I ended up going to Austin, Texas and living for a year. Like I went there with just a backpack and my acoustic guitar, and that's what I did. And I wanted to start a band. I wanted to take over the world and play these songs. I was like, I have this album, I have these songs. We need to start a band. We need to start, doing this, like playing gigs. And it just didn't pan out for me in that way that I kind of envisioned. That was kind of an old school kind of mentality, like, oh, you start a band, you get famous or whatever. So I found the death of my American dream. I kind of went off and I lived it in a sense where, I don't know. It's weirdly prophetic like that. The songwriting on here for me, it's very honest in that approach. I mean, I don't know. I ended up having to experience it for myself. But the death of the American dream really just means the birth of a new dream. It just means that the death of the American dream just means the birth of a new and superior dream. And sometimes you have to let go parts of yourself that aren't always easy. And that is, that kind of transformation that we go through. It's a very human experience. That is what the heart of what this album is about. And all of these songs, I had other songs, even songs that I've considered better than what ended up on this album, but because they didn't seem to fit in this particular narrative, I just didn't include them. So this song sequence that exists here is actually, what I felt fit best once the story kind of became clear, So with that, we are on to side B, which I thought, a half an hour each side, which is way too long in terms of vinyl. I kind of envisioned a vinyl, but I wasn't really into vinyl. I know that 20 minutes, you're kind of pushing fidelity. 30 minutes, you're really pushing fidelity. You shouldn't, this would be if I were to rework this, it would be a little longer, even stretched out across, 2 discs, which would make a lot more sense. There's a 38-minute album that's spread across 2 discs. So, side 2, which begins with, let's actually turn the V tracks to their 1 position. And see what makes up this track here. So there's a drum machine. Just stereo guitars doing the same thing. There's my bass. Nice dirty sound. It's not dirty enough. It just doesn't have... I was going for a blown out thing. I sampled myself playing drums and created a loop. What makes up the back of the track? Okay, I want to hear the bass right here. I like the voicing with the bass. Dude. All right. Now let's switch to the other virtual track and hear what I've done for vocals. I wish this was there was a faster way to do this, but it just takes a second here because I got to switch between the 2 tiers. You can see that I've got 99 virtual tracks available. I got all the way down to here, but I've only used 2 rows, and I didn't even fill up the 2 rows at all times. So here, there's a stereo mix of what we just heard.
Is missing to the puzzle when it's finished, out of sight, then out of mind.
See, there's nothing else going on but that vocal right now.
Are you listening to the deafening silence? No reason to the rhyme.
It's a little forced.
Who is Jesus? Does he carry Medicaid? Does he set a full minimum wage? Who the fuck would need us if we didn't shop bargains, if we didn't have to work to get paid? I need something else. I need someone else. I need something else. I need someone else.
Ooh, solo. I punched in right there. Again, if you guys have any questions or want me to elaborate on anything, just let me know. Another punch in. That was off. The timing. Another punch in. Little ahead of myself.
Going for broke. I don't want to work a 9 to 5 to keep the shit on the road. Some kind of job. All the money even matters when it goes to bills and taxes you owe.
So up there. It's
I need something else. I need someone else. Yeah. I need something else. I'm a ram tapped and a fucking skull.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna switch back to the. I think we've got a good formula happening here now. So there's actually a track here that was mixed out of the album. I think it was just a little the pitch was a little off, so I never kept it, which looking back, let's see how. Let's check it out. Again, Korg Electribe, pretty much keeping me in time. I performed it like a DJ performance, like, all right, bring in the snare, bring in the kick, and I would map the song out in my head by singing it sometimes. If I had a structure to the song already, sometimes I would just feel it out. So there's that would have been the rhythm guitar that kept me in time. Is there some Bones says, is there something I wish I would have done differently on this album? That's a tough one. I mean, right now listening to it, I think I would want to redo it. I like the songs enough to where I wouldn't mind going into a studio and making this a big epic. Because to me, this sounds like an elaborate demo. Because in my head, that's kind of what this is. I wouldn't change anything about this particular recording, but if I had my way, I would have a female sing a lot of this, and obviously, I would have nailed the vocals a bit more. I would have. I mean, it just comes down to certain parts. Like I could probably deconstruct like these drums, for example, in this song, I think are kind of shit. Like they're filler. I'm just kind of messing around on this bass here. There's the guitar. It's a very Porcupine Tree, isn't it? Let me go back a little so we can hear it. So this guitar was what was cut out. I probably, this is one of those little things. There's a lot of little things. Like I would have mixed things a little differently. I would have recorded them a little differently. I mean, with my knowledge now, if I was to get, if I were to have to go back to this machine here and do the same song sequence, I would have planned things differently, but I have different gear now. I have different knowledge. So that's kind of a tough call, but I mean, really the vocals are the hardest thing. But I didn't have a way to punch, so I don't think overall, for this, I would change anything, But here's this guitar part that didn't make the final mix. Very Porcupine Tree. I think that's what I was going for. So let's go to the other tier and hear some of these vocals. Sorry, this again with the bouncing back and forth between layers. So we got the first 8 tracks that we just heard, and this is what ended up as the stereo mix there on 7 and 8, left and right, and now.
I left the way I came. Today is just a frame, because tomorrow is just the same
Okay, that was off.
as yesterday. I tried to write a song, but I got the words all wrong. Where I belong, and it's been too long.
I'm pretty sure I buried those vocals in the final mix a lot more than we're hearing them right now.
Take me
And that's why.
where the world don't go. Please take me into the unknown. Yeah. Take me where the world don't go. Please take me into the unknown.
Nothing going on with these overdubs here. It's all just straight from the stereo mix right now. Still nothing. Interesting. That is just some sound on the Korg X50. The only keyboard I use the whole album. I just cut that off, didn't I? Like that keyboard just ends. Stop. All right, so that concludes that song. Let's go to, gotta go to the other layer here. I wish this wasn't so tedious, but hey, I didn't have to do this while I was recording. So there's the first 8 tracks, and we're gonna rewind just a smidge. There's the Korg drum machine again. What do we have here? So there's my metronome, if you will. Again, performed live, I'm just like probably singing the verse in my head, the melody anyway. And then this guitar would have been the structure of the song, like the rhythm guitar would tell me where I'm at in the song. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, some. One of the pads. If you know the Korg Triton sounds, you're familiar with a pad like this. That's certainly that sound. So what do we got here? Really, it's just the pad, the guitar, and this drum machine. And then maybe it's another round. I don't know where we're at. Interesting. There it is. This drum sounds kind of cool. There's the bass. So we got acoustic guitar, electric guitar, pads, drum machine, bass. And let's go to the second layer and hear the vocals. In this song, I'm a little worried to hear the vocals. I'm a little nervous here. You guys ready?
In the black hole, I call my soul. In the shadows, I call my own. Break with the silence that you spoke long ago. Take all the time spent behind the shadows. When I'm here, I'm not alone. In the black hole, I call my soul. In the shadows.
There's really not a lot going on. There's like the backing tracks that we have here, and then like the vocal, which could have been done on one of the first 8 tracks, probably.
Behind the shells. Behind the shadows.
You can hear that crummy reverb.
Behind.
All that reverb is coming from in here.
Behind the shadows. Behind the shadows. Behind.
Yeah, there's not a lot going on, is there?
Behind the shadows.
I think my camera died. Just these two. It's just the backing track. All right, so with this, I really do want to hear. That 4 button doesn't really work, does it? There we go. hear this bass by itself. So there's the acoustic guitar. Yeah. Guitar. I really like that sequence. I think it's a nice sequence. Left and right guitars. You can tell that they've never been the one guitar I used was never restrung. It's like dead strings, every instrument. I guess that's another thing I would have changed. I would have changed my fucking strings. All right. That concludes that song. There's nothing going on yet. I wonder what kept me in time right here. All right, 5 and 6. There's a bass right there. So 5 and 6 are the stereo guitars. There's a piano that isn't quite there. Yeah. That's the PV bass. Wow. So that guitar changed tracks. If you, that's because I couldn't nail the whole guitar part in one thing. So what I did was I put 2 tracks here for that were already stereo tracks for the guitar, and then punch in right there. The same guitar part, but on different tracks. So I had a place to punch in. Little tricks. My PV Millennium BXP 5-string bass guitar. It's really just guitars and bass. That's all that's on these 8 tracks right now. Stereo guitars and bass. The overdubs is like a piano and maybe strings. Curious now. We'll come back to it. Wow, for punching in right there, that wasn't very smooth, was it? Or did I not come out smooth? Let's hear how that transition ended. So that's where that guitar part ends. Why does it sound so crummy? Sounds a little abrupt, that's all. There's that bass. A little bit of a tremolo kind of effect going on there. And then I would have added drums right here, right? Yep, that's the Korg Electribe. I'm onto this. What's going on here? I'm being transported back in time right now. This is interesting. It's a cool guitar part. That drum, it's just me playing finger drums on the Korg X50 through the Digitech guitar pedal. So it's like a bit cruncher sound. I think that's the P bass. Not very smooth, that bit. Memento Mori. We're nearing the end. So what do we got here? Beautiful pads. Certainly the Korg X50 again. Stereo guitars. What do we got? Bass. That sounds like I used a lot of that P bass, didn't I? It's kind of a nice stereo sound. Yeah. What the hell was that? That was like a slippery piano. Let's listen to that. What are you doing? Timing's everywhere. All right, let's go to tier 2 and hear some of these vocals. I'm really curious to hear these isolated. Sorry, I've always got to switch back and forth. All right, there we go. All right, so let's stereo mix. What do we got here? Nothing.
It's
Vocals.
with the times. Just try the time. Nothing exists beyond these eyes. It goes only as deep as you can see. Only your strongest thoughts survive. The symbol stays the same, but
symbol stays the same. I mean, I didn't nail it just now, but I certainly didn't nail it then.
change is what it means.
What it means.
Outside within, peering out inside.
Outside within, peering out inside. I don't think I'm doing much better now. With a little bit of warming up, I could get there.
Not many
Not many people. It's just so like, I hate to do this to myself, but
within, peering out inside.
right here.
Not many people grow past the gravity of their reality.
Stereo guitar solo. Interesting.
Everything will be alright. Change with the times. Just try the time. Everything will be alright. Yeah, change with the times.
Change.
Just try the time. Everything will be alright. Change with the time. Just try the time.
All right. We're nearing the end. Let's I'm going to change these virtual tracks here. One more time. So that was In the Clearest Hours of Darkness, which I think is a little, I don't know, I'd probably title that something different now. Great piece of, great song. The girlfriend I was dating at the time had those lyrics tattooed on her leg, actually. Everything will be all right. Change with the times, just ride the tide. I think she wrote change with the times, just ride the tide. Something. But anyway, if it moves somebody, it moves somebody, which is an honor. Better than having your name tattooed and then erased when you're not together. So here's the last song. There's a coda, an afterthought, more or less. This is Walk in Grace. Maybe I should have told a little bit more of the stories of these songs as we went, but hey, you know, maybe I can do another episode on that. I could talk about this shit all day. But here's the Walk in Grace came to me when we were at this party, and this I was adopted this poetry kind of personality, just channeled it, and I just remember I kept saying walk in grace, and this song came from these three chords, and it just had this feel to it. So here's Walk in Grace. That guitar. Bone says you can tell your voice has improved. Yeah, I think my voice has improved. I have more experience. Yeah. I mean, that's one of my biggest criticisms about this album is the vocal, and I'm probably not alone in that. I mean, I try not to tell people that off the bat, because it's like once you tell somebody something, that's what they're gonna that's where their focus is gonna go. I mean, these songs, I think they're great songs. I think the lyrics are strong. I think the theme is really epic and big. I feel really strongly, even still, 10 years later, I think that, yeah, it's pretty good writing. And I'm a stickler about writing, but the performance element of it, sonically, what do you want from this machine? It's like, if you can do better on this machine, then do it. Like, probably some people have come up with better sounding recordings, but typically, the association, like, I was so excited to get this machine. It was like, to me, it wasn't about being a pro. It was about, I can do this now. I was just so excited about the prospect of being able to accomplish something and record my own stuff that I just I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more excited. And, 10 years later, one of the things about this is like, I wouldn't want to utilize a machine like this for a serious project today, because I think that using I have an association with it now. I mean, if you've seen videos online for this, like the BR series, at the time they came out, it was just like, hey, listen to me shred on guitar. You could do it too. All you need is this machine, and you can create pro sounding recordings. It's like, you're a guitar player who doesn't know shit for recording, then this machine is for you. It's that kind of client. It's that kind of market that Boss was shooting for. It's like the home recording enthusiast. Like, it's a good sketch pad. You don't have to know deep about computers and stuff. But this, the BR1180 is really just like your guitarist. It's really designed for the guitar player to have a sketch pad. Like, yo, bro, I wrote some demos. Here's some stuff we can, take to the studio. I didn't even think about that when I bought this machine. I just thought, I can do this now. And I was just amazed that I could actually like multi-track and create my own songs. And then when I found that I could like basically create a seamless album on here, I was just, you couldn't convince me not to. The relationship I was in at the time, I was in a domestic relationship. So the apartment bedroom that I recorded this thing in was with a young gal that we were living together. And I think that after I finished this album, I think she was like, okay, I'm kind of done with the situation, and to some degree I understand. It was like, I would hole up in that bedroom, and I would just I was just so focused, and for better or worse, I just had to finish this project, and the fact that I saw a way to do it just didn't help matters in terms of getting it done. But it was it was a strong vision, and I had to see it through for better or worse. It was a catalyst for me. I learned a lot doing it. This machine I cut my teeth on doing. So not just this project, but I've recorded hundreds of other crummy songs, fun songs, songs that still I feel like I would want to reinterpret, and this machine has served as a great tool in that. It's kind of, looking back, it's kind of amazing that I put up with that much um, just to do this project. All the limitations, all the quirks, all the bugs, all the, figuring out like all the planning and stuff, and just by myself. Like that's the kicker. It's like it's easy when you have a team of people or a band and everyone's on the same page, and it's just like you can, your vision just amplifies. But I didn't have that luxury of having anybody like come in and be like, no, let's do it that way, or I could do anything I wanted, but sometimes you do need to be produced, and sometimes you do need to have someone say like, yo, discipline yourself this way, do it that way. So I think this was a great way for me to learn my own production chops. But this song, coming back to it, what are we at here? One of these guitar tracks would have been the bed. This was an exception. So pretty much every song we heard was like a drum machine, and I played on top of the drum machine. I would listen to the drum machine and play like a rhythm guitar or a keyboard part that would be the bed of the song. In this case, I think I had just a basic beat from my guitar pedal or something, like just a basic drum pattern to keep me in time, and I plugged the microphone in and I just played these 3 chords, because this is the 3-chord song. And right now that's all there is. It's just those. Okay, now piano. So let's go to the other. I think there's a vocal. There's a couple of vocal moments that I like that kind of stick out to me as like, yeah, you got that one. This song has one of those moments, and my friend, who's like more of a hip hop guy, even pointed it out to me, which is a big deal to me because he's kind of he's more of a hip hop guy, and to have him be like, yeah, dude, like I felt it meant a lot. Let's go to the virtual tracks again. Go to that second layer where the vocals exist. And the vocals are, I hate to keep putting myself through this, but the vocals are really the big thing I cringe at typically on this project. But, I give myself the benefit of the doubt largely because I recorded this, with no computer editing, no auto-tune or anything like that. It's easy to, in a computer now to like say, all right, I'm going to just like highlight the verse and just sing the verse 20 times and then just pick every syllable from every take that you want and create a seamless take. I mean, that's not an uncommon practice. I mean, a good vocalist can probably nail it top to bottom. I'm not one of those. I can sing, but I'm not a trained vocalist where I can just like nail first take shit. Like that's just not me. So here's some of these vocals.
The pain inside the rain. I felt a feeling I can't explain. Oh yeah.
Harmonizing with myself, all right.
I played my role and walked down that rabbit hole.
That wasn't bad. I mean, that's the moment I was talking about. That's probably like the vocal highlight of the whole album. I want to play it one more time.
I can't explain. Oh yeah.
Right here.
I played my role and walked down that rabbit hole.
It just has a sweet sound to it. That's what I was going for this whole album. And that's like the one moment that's like, you got it. The one moment.
And when I became a
This is so forced. And when I'm just singing in the wrong part of my I'm just using the wrong part of my body to sing.
I lost
Control. I'm just not open.
control.
Lost control. Little acoustic guitar lead. There was a punch in right there on that guitar. We can hear it. Let's go back to this. Let's pick myself out. So I would have pushed record and went right back. See hear how fast I had to do that. There it is. Oops. That wasn't even. Okay, and I just stopped right there. Dana, stop. That's funny.
When I embrace, I walk in grace. Shadows erased and with not a replace. Journeys are made of choices I made.
Oregon. Korg X50.
I
Once again.
ascend these roads with steps that I take. It's lost and gone in the void was taken from me. Something better to
Okay. That actually gets kind of good right there. That guitar solo, somebody told me that that's like one of the best guitar solos they've ever heard. I think I don't know. I think it's a really strong moment. Best guitar solo, I don't know. It's up to the committee. I mean, that's overpraised, but diamonds. You kind of like those. There's a lot going on for me right now. I mean, that guitar solo sounds nice and sweet, but those drums sound like shit to me. We're going to ditch that guitar solo for now. You can hear the final recording for the rest of that guitar solo. I'm kind of interested in these shitty drums. Like, really? All right. Which track is the drums? I think this is the guitar that kept me the time. There's those shitty drums. So these drums, I mean, this is probably like one of the weakest drums. I'm just finger drumming. I'm just finger drumming on the Korg X50. And I can tell, like listening to that, if you know the Korg like preset drum kits, like that's all I'm doing. Nice. That kick is just so wild. It just sounds like it just needs to be like presented and more up front. This is very So I had a demo of this where the bass was just real nice and growly, and I tried to get that growly bass here. There's a spring reverb on that bass again. Like this whole album, I put like spring reverb on every bass tone. These drums, they sound like shit. China? Wow. Ooh. All right. So, what do we have here? You know what? I think the last song is solely on the second V track row. This I could have called, it's called Tesseract. Could have easily called this song Afterthought. Kind of a lo-fi distortion.
Treading in the morning light, the thought I'm creeping out of sight. I lay awake.
Okay, so there's a harmony. So 3 tracks.
Desperate eyes, I catch a glimpse to my surprise. The lies inside a million past. I steal the glimpse, it does not last. Alas, walk along my way, along this path I'm led astray. To the night, it won't be long till I'm misled unto the dawn. Awake inside my tiring sleep, too deep I am to try and keep. Weary waves of silent thought, nothing is not we and never were. I sleep no more, for words still stir.
Here where I stopped. There's a punch in. This didn't make the final mix. And that's it. That is Death of the American Dream. Well, what can we take away from this? I mean, it's interesting for me coming back to the multi-track sessions and figuring out, oh, that's how I did that. Oh, that's how I planned that out. And in another sense, like I was so intimate with this that it's kind of like, oh yeah, I remember doing that. I don't know. Think about it like if you're going back to your an old job or something, and you're like, oh yeah, I remember my routine. You know, this became a routine for me. The recording process was very evocative. This was very evocative of a certain time for me, and this machine has a lot of, you know, there's kind of memories tied to it. Wow. Any last questions before we close? Any other inquiries, or I'd be happy to answer if you guys do. This 10 years, it's kind of crazy that this album was released 10 years ago. It's like, oh, it's been that long? Well, yeah, it's kind of been that long. Let's see. Bones says whenever he heard something I've made, he gets very inspired. Well, thank you. I've make this stuff because I was inspired to make it, and I think that perpetuates itself. I was certainly driven to make this album. It was a statement in my mind. It was something I had to say. It wasn't just, um, oh, I want to make these songs. I want to make a cool, fun project. It was like, I have to say this. And it was like, everything in me, I just was possessed to, record these songs and finish this album. It was so important to me at the time. In my mind, it was like, if I do this, then this is going to, get me to the next level. And that wasn't true in a certain sense. It was, it's all, for me, it was a big milestone, but it wasn't like life changing in the sense that it was like, oh, now you're famous and now you're, everybody knows you and now everybody's buying this album. I listen to it now and I think, yeah, this is obviously not a world famous pop record. It's not a hi-fi piece of recording. It's very raw to me. Again, it sounds like the demo of what I could have, accomplished, and I feel like I do want to re-record this album. I feel like I want to reapproach it with the intention of what I had originally wanted to do. And I might do that, but I have a lot of other songs that I feel need attention first. So that might be coming in the future. Have I been able to make music my job? Not my full-time job just yet, but I am working on it. Creating content for me is one way to get other people involved, and I can learn what I want to learn and teach what I've learned and apply that to my own projects. And hopefully someday soon, I'll be able to perpetuate that. But I'm working towards that for sure. Bones says, thanks for sharing. Well, thank you, Bones, for sticking around and enjoying. I'm just kind of going off the cuff here. I'm testing out a new camera setup. You can see my camera here that's pointed at the device. I got a video switcher in front of me. I got another camera sitting in front of me. It's a new setup. I'm just trying to create more content. I'm trying to get you guys more involved and help me, find a direction that supports what you guys want to do. Because ultimately, that's going to help sustain me in doing what I want to do. But it becomes a full-time gig. I mean, yeah, I got a lot of gear, a lot of shit, but that doesn't mean anything if you're not like doing anything with it, if you're not making a statement. I mean, this album, Death of the American Dream, very sparse. I mean, I made it on this with it was two electric guitars, one acoustic guitar, two basses, one keyboard, the MXL 990 microphone for everything, vocals and guitars and percussion and everything, and a Korg Elect Tribe drum machine. And that was all of the gear that I used to make this album, entirely within this machine. So if I can do that with very sparse gear, that's like a handful of gear. The equipment that's, got under, it's like $2,000 of equipment max. You know what I mean? That was not a lot of gear. The instruments didn't have new strings. I had to make decisions and get creative and, let things lie where they would. And I did. And I still went through and I still finished it, despite the fact that it was like, listening back, it's like the vocals are pretty rough. There's a lot of slippage on some of the instrumentation. It was like, okay, I could have done better. how could I approach this next time? Um, what can I learn from this process to make my next project better? And yeah, that I didn't have a lot of gear to use for this project, but I put everything into it, So I think that um that was an important thing for me to learn. It's like doesn't matter the gear, but then eventually I got the gear out. I think I'll do a video on that. But with that, are there any videos for those who are still sticking around? Are there any subjects or anything that you'd like me to cover for the next video? I'd be interested to know what you guys think. You can all leave comments and things too if you're still sticking around. But I'm thinking one of the next videos, I've got an OP1 and a 4-track cassette recorder, and I want to compare the features of the OP1 and the 4-track as 4-track recorders. And, lately, what I've been doing is basically, well, it's kind of my MO now is I take an album, I make an album, and I make a video, and usually that video covers the tools I use. So like, I made an album on here, I made an album on another tape machine, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm covering how I utilize these tools in the creative process. So the limitations of this informed, the sound and the approach and the decisions that I made with the technology and the